Let's talk about reconnecting with who you are and what you want from life, focusing both on sleep, better sleep, and better everyday accomplishment. I'm Justin Hitt with Inside Strategic Relations. Now, this one's going to be a little different than other podcasts. I'm actually sitting outside, enjoying a full moon. I've relaxed. I'm going to record a few podcasts, basically some stuff that's been on the queue for a little while, and this is a perfect opportunity. So let's first talk about sleep. When you're working in an office space, when you're working in a building with artificial lights, very often your circadian rhythms can get out of sync. Maybe you're working late, you're getting up at odd times, maybe you're not getting enough sleep. What happens in these cases is your brain starts to adapt to the new pattern of being awake. And this can cause problems. One problem can be that you're unable to get to sleep. Another problem can be kind of a form of depression that has to do with just being tired. So missing 8 hours of sleep is equivalent to being drunk. There is a loss of motor skills. There's actual limitations in your cognitive ability. And a doctor's going to tell you just have to get more sleep. Here's the problem. There's an underlying reason why you are not sleeping. The underlying reason why is keeping you awake and only getting worse as your cognitive abilities delay due to a lack of sleep. Now, I've written a very long program about how to get better sleep. I think the pretext to that is what successful people know that most people don't. Basically, good quality sleep. But if we're unclear about our goals and objectives, we'll very often do anything that comes across our plate. When we're unclear about our goals and objectives, it can be difficult to focus attention and say no where it's appropriate. And what happens here is now we get overloaded in our daily work. Now we get overloaded in our day-to-day life. We're sitting in the chairs longer. Now, when you're sitting in a chair, it is an unnatural position. It puts stress on your lower back, on the back of your thighs. It limits circulation. It is just something that is not good for you. If you do get the opportunity to have a standing desk or to move around during the day, it is the best thing that you can do, because sitting at a desk, and I'll tell you from personal experience, for 8 to 10 hours a day is detrimental to your health. Now, again, you may be saying, well, Justin, everything's on a computer these days, and I got to use a computer, and I don't have a laptop, and it doesn't matter the reason why. Understand that your brain, if you have a lack of sleep and you have some of the physiological challenges that most office workers face, then you're going to have more excuses than you're going to have results. This is about results. Remember, I talked about the reset. Now, the reset is to determine what it is that you want, and it may not be the situation you're in, to clearly map out your days, kind of choreograph your days, and then to ultimately design your day and your environment to facilitate the outcomes that you desire. Now, again, you're saying easier said than done. I work in an office. I have a commute. I work remote. I don't have a commute. There's a lot of things that can get in the way. Understand that these things can get in the way. Get out a journal, make a list. But when it comes to sleep, understand the more you don't sleep, the more you're going to have cognitive impairment, and then the less you're going to be able to solve the problem itself. Now, how do people usually address these issues? So if they have poor sleep, they first either don't know they have poor sleep, and they end up having either a heart attack or stress. There's one stat that I was looking at that if you go to bed after 10 p.m. local time, that you increase your chance of a heart attack by 50%. Now, again, that's because your heart's been working all day long. Now it's stressed out. Now you still didn't get enough sleep. Now you have additional stress on top of that. Your body's not getting a chance to rebuild and to recharge. Other mistakes people make is they will just basically sleep and wake up whenever. That's going to throw off your circadian rhythm, because if you are going to bed at different times, your body doesn't know how to set up its cycles. Now, there's things you can do to get ready to go to bed. You can meditate. You can have some warm herbal tea. There's different things like CBD oil. Now, I'm not a doctor. I'm not recommending any of these things too, but I'm saying there are options. However, Some of these options like sleeping pills, melatonin, some of the herbal teas actually build up a dependency because they trick your brain into waiting for you to signal time to sleep rather than actually getting time to sleep. Now I'm going to loop back here why I'm standing outside, looking at the moon, talking to you. Well, one of the things that you can do is you can start to reset your circadian rhythms by having natural light, regular exercise, and then the early morning and evening sunlight. So what do I mean by that? If you're up when the sun comes up and you get outside and you see that reddish sky, there's actually a large amount of infrared radiation and red wavelength light. This is signaling to your brain that it is morning, that the sun is coming up. Now, these light rays, and they're similar to what's in a campfire or a candle. These light rays, the thermal radiation reaches your body, is absorbed by skin cells, helps boost mitochondria, which is the stuff inside your cells that regenerate cells. There's a lot of stuff going on. Your brain is interpreting this, and these are primitive functions in your human physiology that are being triggered by seeing the sun come up. Now, you might be saying, well, the sun doesn't come up the same time every day, and so this would be an irregular wake pattern. Well, it's fine if the wake pattern is sun up when you get to wake up. As long as you come outside and you see that moon, you see that sun, you see that reflection, you see that horizon, and you are connecting the physical trigger. Now, if you're just going to wake up in a room with artificial lights, you want to wake up at the same time every day. You know, if you're waking up at 7 or you're waking up at 4 or whatever it is, doesn't matter. That's the same time every day because there's artificial lights. But if you add the trigger, which is the environmental view, so you pop up out of bed if that alarm goes off, and there's different sleep alarms you can use that are not as disruptive as that blaring noise, but you get up, get some clothes on really quick, head outside, watch the sun come up. Maybe this is a good time for meditation. This is a good time for stretching. This might be a good time if you're into karate or martial arts to go through a kata or a routine. This might be a good time just to go outside and feed the animals or walk the dog. But again, it's about rising with the sun, meeting the sun, encouraging the sun, encouraging yourself. Now, this light is going to be absorbed by your skin. It's going to be absorbed in your mind, in your eyes, and it's going to do things that I am not qualified to explain exactly what's happening. But the key thing it does is it helps reset the circadian rhythm and help you with your overall sleep cycle. Now, as you go through the day, and by the way, my report on this goes into a lot more details, but as you go through the day, you're going to try to be up and down, physical, not just sitting at a desk all day. You're going to try to get outside to get some fresh air. You're going to interact with people. Now it starts to become evening time. You want to get home and eat at a decent time. So you're going to get home, eat about 5, 6 o'clock. And that's why we encourage remote work, because you can stay with this schedule. But essentially, you want to eat more than 2 hours from your bedtime. Okay, so don't wait till late. You want that stomach to be empty. You want that your digestive system to be done with what it's doing. And again, I'm giving you a very high-level overview here just to get you kind of a taste of what's available to help you get back on track, to help you build up your energy, to help you build up your focus, to help you build up clarity in your mind, help you get that vitamin D that helps with your immune system. So now let's move along to the sun starting to go down. At that time, that's the perfect time to sit on the porch with family, to take a little walk in the neighborhood. And now what we're looking for is the sun reflecting off the moon. Now, it's a different type of thermal radiation, a different type of infrared light, but it is also that red spectrum light that is telling your brain the moon is going down, the sun is going down. It's time to go to bed. Now, here's what's interesting about all this is that for millions of years, animals have looked for these symbols. Humans have looked for these symbols. If you look at where humans live on the planet, they tend to live in areas that have about 8 hours of daylight at a minimum. about 8 hours of dark, and then there's the dusk and the dawn in between those two. It could take a while for your sun to come down. Some religious groups have prayers that are specifically at these times. So again, this is a perfect time to get up, do your prayers, do your devotional, do your reading, but do it outside in nature with that fresh air. Now, if you live in a city, you find a porch, you might go to a park. Don't make excuses. Get results. But can you see what we're talking about here? If your sleep is not right and you're very sitting around all day, even though you're productive and you're doing things, there are physiological things that are happening to your body. Going to the gym and working out can actually create additional stresses that your tired body is not ready to handle. So what I'm suggesting here is a mental routine that helps build a normal quality sleep cycle. So we're looking for quality of sleep over quantity of sleep. We're also looking for going to bed at a time 10 o'clock or earlier, and we end up having a biphasic sleep, meaning you'll probably wake up in the middle of the night, and then you just relax. Read a devotional, write in your journal, but have low light. You want to have a natural low light, which would be moonlight, candlelight, something that is not too bright because you don't want to trigger waking yourself up. And then when the sun comes up, you get outside, walk the dog, stretch, do a little yoga, whatever it is that you do, and tell your mind the new day has started. This is also a great time to leave behind the problems of the previous day. And then, of course, in the evening to plan your next day. This is a cycle that becomes the framework for how you plan your days and activities. And even though there may be times that you got to be out really late at night, you will tend not to do so. You will tend to have a really good burst all day long, a lot of energy, a lot of excitement, a lot of focus, because your brain will be clearer and you'll be happier, and then you won't need to be up all night. If you are up all night, then again, you start the reset again, the red light. Now, there are products you can use indoors, but I'm suggesting you use outdoor activities because they're free, and pretty much anywhere you are on the planet, you can get up in the morning every day and see the sun or see the moon. Now, I do know that there are places on the planet that might have a longer than an 8-hour period between these things. But again, this is about a framework. If you'd like more detail on this type of thing, I do have a special report. I know it's pre-published because we had a little workshop around it with clients. But it really, if you don't have the good sleep, if you don't have the clarity of mind, then a lot of these strategies that require a lot of brain calories, a lot of glucose, will not work. So if you've been listening to my podcast about strategic relations and you haven't been able to do some of the mapping exercises, or you aren't building networks as quickly as you like, and you're starting to get frustrated, it could be your sleep cycles, the quality of your sleep, how you're approaching the end of your day. Is the end of the day a celebration or a break from the frustration? Is the end of the day a time where you just clear your mind and allow your body to recharge, to rebuild, to reconnect with family? Folks, this is a powerful approach, and we share it here at Inside Strategic Relations with members. If you'd like to get more details about our Get Better Sleep program, let me know by visiting www.InsideStrategicRelations. Go to the contact page and just basically ask about Get Better Sleep. And if you have any questions about this, tips or ideas, or even your own story, I would love to hear from you. I'm Justin Hitt with Inside Strategic Relations. Again, visit www.InsideStrategicRelations.com, where we help transform business relationships into profits, influence, and power for individual most of my subscribers are high income professionals that are ready to have a little bit more freedom and to have life more on their terms. I want to thank you for being a part of what we do. This is the podcast. We also have a newsletter and a membership program and a coaching program. If you're interested, do ask your questions. I love to hear from you. Again, I'm Justin Hitt with Inside Strategic Relations.